Good morning, Bob. How are you this morning? Oh, we got to turn your mic on, though. You forgot that we had a whole discussion. I said, I'm on this, you're on that.
It's because I heard you say 3 earlier.
I was on 3, and he's on 4.
Yeah, and then he changed it. Hey, everybody, how's it going?
There we go.
I am doing fantastic. We had a wonderful weekend of Christmas decorating. We ran to Milwaukee to...
You ran to Milwaukee?
Yeah, we did. Couldn't take the train. Yeah, we had a great weekend.
It's good to hear. No, you can turn me back up though. I think I'm on 3, so I think I'm good. I mean, if I'm shouting, feel free. Like as long as I'm not in the red, I think that's the important thing. I don't sound overmodulated, but
you sound fantastic.
The day is young. I can be overmodulated later. We'll see how worked up I get once that coffee kicks in. So, my weekend was classified, so we'll just leave it at that. And
was there some like super double tip top secret libertarian convention?
No, just classified. Oh,
You'll
find out about it someday.
Okay.
So what else? So you guys know the number if you're up this morning, out and about.
It was
just getting up.
It was a very busy news weekend.
Yeah.
And I know this because I was somewhat disconnected until I logged back in last night sometime, and I find that the first thing I go to is I go straight to Twitter, X, and Instagram, and I get my news from whatever memes of the day.
Right, the memes are important. That's an important source of news.
They really are, because I think they not so much tell you exactly word for word what happened, but they give you the the emotive sense of whatever happened. And it was I tell you, people in the Epsteins.
There's a lot in the Epstein. I spent a lot of time arguing the Epstein this weekend with people that just 5 minutes ago started shouting, "Release the files."
And then Indiana Republicans are making national news
once again for doing some fantastic things,
being
fantastic individuals.
Somewhat limp-wristed.
Somewhat.
I guess we can get into that soon, but no, my weekend was Christmas and it was fantastic.
So is that just the mode that you're in, just moving forward?
I do.
Do you put like a little Christmas hat on your turkey? You're like, we're just
there. Thanksgiving, I do like those again memes where Thanksgiving is really like 3 days at the end of November. I like fall stuff, but that's good for about a week. I really enjoy the Christmas spirit. I love watching. For Liam, it's still magical, and I want to lean into that.
So we're not on the air apparently. So do you want to? I mean, it is Monday at a WJOB. Why would we be on the air? So I feel like I can just curse for the next 5 minutes until Jim goes, no, never mind, you are back on the air. So I'm getting messages we're not on the air. We should be on some sort of streaming on YouTube, stuff like that. So
on the YouTubes,
we're on the YouTubes where you can curse. We just can't sing copyrighted material. So why don't you let us know
nitty muggins
when we're on the radio? So I can
I got a chuckle. Got a chuckle out of the booth there.
She tolerates us.
Barely.
So let us know when we're on the air so I can say good morning to the people in their trucks and their cars and their SUVs heading to work.
Ooh, in their electronic vehicles?
No. I doubt they're listening.
Well, why wouldn't they listen?
It's too cold for an EV this morning. It's too cold. It's 30 degrees.
Because,
they don't work
so in case people want
much like the train, they're not working this morning.
I can make a visual statement for the, what do we got, 4 people watching on the YouTubes?
Of 19.
19. So you folks are already going to get a visual. I stepped out of the shower and remote started my car this morning.
Yeah.
And it was all nice and toasty. So I've got we've got one caller
from the YouTube.
From the YouTubes.
Yeah, we got a YouTube caller.
Wow, a YouTube caller. They could be anywhere in the entire world.
They're probably here though.
Oh, they're probably right.
They're probably literally down the street. So
okay.
Let's take our call this morning. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Yeah, I'm calling from LaPorte.
You're LaPorte. It's kind of down the street. I mean, what time is it there? Is it 6 o'clock there, or is it 7?
Well, I grew up in Hammond, so I was going to talk to Mr. Starkey.
Uh-oh. Yeah, who does?
You're a council. I understand you're a councilman in Dyer.
Yes, sir.
That's his understanding. Until they take the gavel away.
I want to ask a question. I mean, it's been bothering me for years. 20 years ago, a friend of mine I used to work with, he moved to Lowell, and it's right past the high school, the street past the high school, and you make a left, go down about a block. He wanted to, fix his house up, a brand new house he built. Every one of the houses in that, and there was 17 houses, every one of them was beige. He wanted to buy the property next door. They told me he had to put a house on it. How many HOAs are you in charge of?
So the council isn't in charge of any of the HOAs. They're independent organizations. I would say there's probably 5 to 10 in Dyer. Some of them are some of the ones in some of the older subdivisions are defunct, meaning I think they don't meet. They just are there for various covenants in case anybody wants to put up a shed. They occasionally meet, and then you've got other places that have monthly meetings where they determine all sorts of stuff. So I personally lived in an HOA once when we lived in Winfield for a while. It wasn't my style.
See, I think
Well, I guess
that's
I guess
the thing. Go ahead.
I guess my question is, I mean, all the things and all the rules that they make you and they make you do, and then they give you all this. Well, you got to pay this amount in 1 month, and you guys would be getting a raise, and maybe it's putting more on your plate. That's why you allow this. We don't have we don't have any connection with any of the HOAs in town. When a developer comes in and establishes an HOA, the thought is to keep some type of consistent look and feel, and if we want to say vibe of that little individual neighborhood or community. When you move into that subdivision, purchasing houses, that's all a voluntary thing. You already know the rules.
You're into it, and so there was a subdivision that my grandmother lived in, and one time the HOA board, again, they're elected internally, but it's more like a popularity contest. It's no official elections. They decided that they wanted all new trees, and so they did an assessment, and they knocked on everyone's door, and they said, hey, in addition to the $100 a month that you're paying that goes for lawn maintenance, snow removal, whatever, we're going to assess you another a special assessment of, I don't know, it was like $150 per unit to put some new trees in the parkway. And I don't believe you really had a choice. I think that's
that's the interesting question about the HOAs is it's sort of like in your town, you guys have rules and regulations,
right?
And you have to have Bob can't unilaterally say Bob likes purple, everybody's house needs to be purple.
Correct.
Even though in a democracy the majority of people could do that, which is why we're a representative republic. I digress. But again, so this idea about the HOAs, what you find a lot of times is their rules are kind of arbitrary and capricious in a lot of cases. So it's kind of like you always read these stories about the guy who's like, hey, they didn't like the look of my fence, so they told me I had to replace it. It's like, well, can you point to the covenant that says my fence is wrong? Or we don't like the tree that you installed. It's like, is there a covenant that says, no Japanese maples or something? It's like, well, no, we just don't like the look of it. So it's like,
go ahead. Or you can't have a fence.
Or I've
no
seen stuff where
fences, no sheds,
no fences, or your car's too old.
Yeah.
Like, hey, your car's a 92. Time to get
Yeah.
what 93 only? Like,
yeah,
so,
that's why I don't know that I would necessarily choose to live in an HOA, only because the shed thing. Last year I threw up a shed because I wanted a shed and I liked a shed, and I didn't. I
was
guess
it a he shed or a she shed?
it was my Christmas shed.
It was
I
Santa
can
shed.
see where some folks may want an HOA, just in that it does. They are able to hold their residents to a certain visual standard. And if that's something you're going for, if you want, every single house, if you want to live in a community where every single house has a white picket fence, well, then find an HOA that does that.
Okay, well, here's a question, though. Have you guys ever been dragged into a situation where it's like, hey, the town says I can have a shed this size, and the HOA says I can't? You know, like you guys get dragged into this.
We have, but those are very short lived because
It's like you signed up for the HOA.
The HOA will take precedence over that, and now it can't go in the reverse where.
So the HOA can't break your rules, essentially.
Correct.
Right. Okay.
Correct. But they can have rules above and beyond what the town has.
That's
So basically, when you signed up, you you knew the rules, and so you gave yourself the option to get shaken down.
Yeah, I mean that's a good way to put it as any. I mean that's how the HOAs go now. Yeah. I mean, I don't know that I have too much more to say on that, but there isn't we will get some calls from residents occasionally, like you said, asking, hey, you allow this, can we do it? It's like, well, if you live in an HOA, that there are covenants on that property that you own, you have to follow that.
Okay, I'm just curious because I had a friend that lived in Flossmoor, and they are Homewood. And he had back in the day, he had like a $40,000 truck, and they told me he couldn't park it in his driveway. It's like, really, you're the taxpayer. You're paying these people. You're paying the councilman. You're paying the city. You're paying the county. You're paying the state, the taxes. And you can't park your truck, a nice brand new truck. Well, you can't park it in your driveway.
But now you just open up that can of worms of the whole. There's always, I'm sure Bob deals with this a lot. The whole like, hey, somebody's boat's been in their driveway too long, or there's an RV here, and all that kind of stuff. Where it's like, remember some people. There's always somebody on the block that has. Too much free time.
And towns are different. So, for example, you mentioned the car. I'll talk about RVs for a second. There are no stipulations in Dyer as to if you've got a Winnebago and you want to park it in your driveway and you want to keep it there year round and only go camping with it once every 5 years, that's
can I
your
tear
thing.
down my house and then live in the Winnebago?
but in St.
They got a lot of HMOs in St. John. I got a buddy that's got an RV.
Yeah, that was
and
my
they told
first.
him he couldn't park his RV in the backyard unless it was on a slab.
Yeah, and I think is St. John, Chuck, you're the resident St. John expert here. I think it's October to April you can't have one in your driveway.
I feel like it's like a week or something like that. You can't have it for longer than a week. Again, I don't want to speak to that, but yeah, I mean, again, there's these weird ordinances where it's like you can only have an RV for a week on the third Tuesday of the month, and you can only have a boat if it's, it's like just weird government things. So
yeah. All right, good show.
Yeah, take care. Thanks.
Have a good one.
Okay, so I got a whole batch of South. It always pains me to have to give you updates about the South Shore, but if you are heading that way, there's all kinds of issues this morning. There's eastbound trains having issues, westbound trains having mechanical issues. So just FYI, if you're heading to the train station, I'm sure you'll be shocked to learn your train may be late this morning. So.
I have been standing at the Munster Dyer station
waiting for the train to
for about 9 months now.
Just take a picture of us like on Thanksgiving going, we were promised a train by now. We are on the radio, by the way, so stop the cursing.
Oh, we're on the waves?
Yeah, we're on there. So, but that would be funny if we just had a bunch of people standing out there looking at their watch going, where's the train at? I actually, and again, because this is apparently Stump Bob Day, I got a question from Paul Goddard for you, Paul. I got a question from Paul for Bob.
Okay.
So he said there are some streets that were redid, like Barron, this last month. They came back recently to cement around the sewer covers. What is the reasoning behind that? Is it to reinforce it, or did they make a mistake? So why do they, and I noticed this a lot, like you go back and you basically put in a square of concrete.
Yes.
Around it. I'm assuming that's some sort of a maintenance thing, but maybe it lasts longer. Maybe it settles less.
Yeah, they had a few on 212th and Harrison. I noticed over the weekend. This is me speaking somewhat out of school on this. It's just to make sure that those they don't sink over time.
Yeah, no, I feel like it's a settlement
Just
issue. If I had to guess, I'd say
Yeah.
basically reinforcing it. Otherwise, you put that weight on the asphalt, and eventually you're going to it's going to sink in. You're going to get a divot. You're going to get water, et cetera, et cetera.
Well, and some of it is goofy government funding also.
Yes.
My
favorite.
I'm gonna space on our biggest grant that we get every year.
The community grant.
Yeah, the CCMG.
Yeah.
It will pay for paving, and it will pay for some like stormwater work, but only the grates that are in the curbs, not anything underground. And so some of that money, if there's extra money in that, will just go for reinforcing the existing system. So I don't know if that was the case.
We got a grant to pave the road, so we got another grant to pave
Yeah.
around the sewers. That's a different grant, and they have different specifications.
But yeah, nothing.
That makes sense to reinforce it. I mean, that's the most logical explanation.
Yeah,
So,
especially some of those, depending on how the ground is, they just want to.
makes sense. Okay, so it is. Why don't we'll take our break? So we are on the radio.
Oh, we're going to. So we get on the radio, then we take a break.
We get on the radio. We take a break because we want to stay on time.
Okay.
Assuming the Astor play is running. So let's take a break. We'll be back with more Stump the Bob after this.
Do 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 do.